Welcome everyone, I'm Jordan Sharp as we start another week of the NFL season here in Week 5. Thursday Night Football should prove to be a very valuable betting evening for your NFL odds as we start a divisional battle between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm here to give you 3 more of my favorite prop plays here tonight, all courtesy of Bet365 Sportsbook. We're going to start it off with a young running back for the Green Bay Packers who has yet to hit his stride this season, but I think might be able to do so tonight, even on a short week, and that's Eddie Lacy, who from Bet365 is coming in at 70.5 rushing yards as his over-under. Now, Lacy hasn't exactly hit the ground running this season after a stellar rookie season, having a little bit of a sophomore slump. However, I think that's being overblown just a little bit, considering that the Packers in their first 3 weeks of the season played literally probably the 3 toughest rushing defenses in the entire NFL. And even last week against the Bears, even though he didn't have a great game either, the Packers were having so much success throwing the ball that Lacy really didn't even get much of a momentum going, even though he did have 17 carries. But with those 17 carries, if he gets those again here on a short week, I think he could definitely go over this total here at 70.5 rushing yards. The Vikings rushing defense, not that great this season, and I think the Packers could be ahead at some point in this game, which would lead Eddie Lacy to get a lot of carries in this game and likely go over the total at 70.5, especially if the Vikings do not have Teddy Bridgewater. It's really going to negatively affect their offense, which could lead the Packers to having a lot more offensive possessions, a lot more touches for Lacy here. So I think he could definitely get over 70.5 rushing yards at -125. The next one here, also a player, probably going over to the Vikings side, though, and going with a prop on Jarius Wright, a guy who had a breakout performance last season, a third-year wide receiver, had over 130 yards on 8 catches last week, and this week he comes in from Bet365 with an over-under of 42.5 receiving yards. Now, the big question of this one will be whether or not Teddy Bridgewater plays. He's a little bit questionable right now with a banged-up ankle. If he does not play, I would lay off entirely I would definitely play this prop even more than if he was playing. But either way, I think under 42.5 for Jarius Wright is going to be a pretty solid play at -120. If Bridgewater doesn't play, his upside goes out the window, and even if he does play, I think it's going to be hard for Wright to duplicate what he did last week, even half of what he did last week. This is a guy that had 3 catches for about 37 yards on the entire season. And it's not like he's some high draft pick, third-year wide receiver who's finally breaking out. This guy's taken in the 4th round, really hasn't shown much flash, even though he does have 5 career touchdowns. I just think that last week was a bit of an anomaly against a very, very bad Atlanta Falcons defense. This week, I doubt Wright is going to have as much success here with or without Teddy Bridgewater. And at 42.5 at -120, I think under should be a pretty good play tonight on Jarius Wright's receiving yards. Now finally, this last one's just a little bit of a gamble, but I like the value being presented here for Richard Rodgers, the other Rodgers on Green Bay, to score a touchdown this week at +333. Immense value of well over 3-1 here. And last Monday, if you remember, we caught Travis Kelce, another young tight end, on his breakout performance. He had a huge week, led the Chiefs in receiving and scored a touchdown, correctly projected that one for a +150 cash. So you're welcome if we were able to catch on to that one. However, I think this week, a little bit more of a gamble, obviously, double the NFL odds, but Rodgers, I think, is going to start emerging as one of the bigger red zone threats for this offense. As much as I love Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line, they're not as good of a target as they are in between the 20s. So I think that Rodgers could implant himself as one of the go-to red zone targets for Aaron Rodgers. Now, it is a bit of a gamble, like I said. +333 is a long shot, so if you're not feeling like taking a risk tonight, I would lay off of this one. But if you feel like adding a lot of value, potential big cash for your NFL odds, throw a unit on Richard Rodgers to score a touchdown tonight at +333. I don't think you're going to be disappointed at the end of the night. So that'll do it for me this time. Make sure you check out my Thursday night parlay as well tonight. But until then, I'm Jordan Sharp, and this has been another edition of the Sharp Pick.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.